Steve Kim for the Undisputed Champion Network, and we are honored to be joined by boxing sage Larry Merchant. Larry, first of all, thank you for joining us. Larry, let's get right into this. Past weekend, you were in Las Vegas at the Cosmopolitan, a fight that really devolved into quite a fiasco. Brandon Rios with a 9th round disqualification win over Argentine Diego Chavez. When it's all said and done, did Brandon Rios get the win, and did referee Vic Draculich get the save?
Well, you could say both, because they're both true. It was an ugly fight, a brawl, and he was trying to get control of the mess, and then wound up contributing to the mess.
When you look at that situation, this is a fight though, and this is still the fight game. When you're calling that fight, you were on the international broadcast, did you say to yourself, what in the world is Draculich doing? Do you think he pulled the trigger prematurely, or do you think he lost control of that fight from the beginning and he simply could never get the genie back in the bottle?
He was just trying too hard to control a fight that couldn't be controlled. There was just a lot of inside brawling, mauling going on, and some of it could be borderline. And to try in the moment, in the heat of the battle, to distinguish between what's legal and what isn't legal becomes an issue. And but you know what? People come to see something happen, and something happened.
Larry, that's Brandon Rios' first victory in nearly 2 years. I'll be honest with you, I just don't see him as a real welterweight. You just look at his body, it looks like it just looks like a pile of mashed potatoes. Very soft, there's no muscle definition. When you see him, do you see a guy that perhaps maybe needs to make that effort to go down to junior welterweight?
Well, it's not a game of muscle definition. There have been great fighters who are not Adonises. But as we emphasized on the broadcast, the real question was, at 147, could he be as bruising, as domineering physically over an opponent as he was at 135? And that's a real issue. Guys who move up in weight have to have some skills, usually, if they're not just using their physicality to impose themselves. So it's an issue, but you know what? He's Brandon Rios. There are good fights out there for him. He'll make some money. He himself said he'd rather be remembered as another Arturo Gatti than as a guy with a lot of championship belts, and that's a pretty worthy goal.
Larry, also part of this HBO broadcast, you did not call this fight, but it was the second fight of the triple header. Sergey Kovalev gets rid of Blake Caparello in 2 rounds, setting the stage for a showdown with Bernard Hopkins. Larry, how much credit do you give Bernard Hopkins at age 49 for taking on such a bruising power puncher like Sergey Kovalev? And are you surprised that this fight was made?
I am surprised. Bernard, as he started to go into his dotage, once confided in me, "You'll never see me get beaten up." What he was saying is he was going to be able to survive after 40 with his boxing skill. And that if somebody hit him a punch, Bernard Hopkins was going to make sure he didn't get hit with the second punch. And so it is a little surprising to see him fight Kovalev, who's a beast. Maybe Bernard sees something, and maybe it's by far the biggest payday he can make. Whatever it is, good for him.
Larry, you used the word beast. At nearly 50 years old, when they fight November 8th, that's the date that looks like everyone's talking about. If he could tame the beast in Sergey Kovalev, where do you rank that among his victories?
It would be considered something as another climax to his career.
That's a lot of those.
When you've been around as long as he has, you would have necessarily had to have a bunch of climaxes.
Gennady Golovkin. Very simply, Larry, are you a believer?
I'm a true believer, and I started believing after I saw him for about 20 seconds. It's obvious that he knows how to box and bang. To me, that's the top of the game. I don't believe that hit and not be hit is the top of professional prize fighting. It's being able to box, yes, but also sometimes taking the risk of banging. And it's a hurting game, it's a violent game, it's a dangerous game, and when you take all of those elements out of it, it's no longer the game. And to me, Golovkin plays the game on the highest level.
I'm a big advocate of Golovkin, but to be fair, if you look at his resume, he has not faced what I'd call a great lineup, but he's certainly taken care of business, and he's 32 years old. So he's much closer to the end of his prime than, let's say, the beginning of it. Do you think he'll get there to that point where he becomes that transcendent star, or do you think that's even in the cards for him?
I'm not sure that that can happen. I don't know, and I've been searching in my memory and so on, any European fighter who has ever come to America and been a superstar attraction. There have been some that have come for a fight or two or three and have done well, but I don't know of any European fighter who has had the impact, say, that some Latino fighters have had, as Manny Pacquiao has had. It's just the way it is. And so him being as strong as he is, as tough as he is, he's going to be avoided because he doesn't generate the huge bucks that some promoters are looking for today.